Welcome back to the Everyone's Different podcast. We are in the building with a legend. I am Tristan Jass. We got the co-host,
Young Trench,
and we have an absolute monster in the building tonight. My boy Andre Adams. How you doing, bro?
Doing great. Happy to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Kenosha's finest in the house.
Man, that's you, man. That's you.
You the
man.
next generation, though.
Man, trying to figure everything out and keep things going. But how you been, man? Everything good?
Doing great, man. As you guys know, Andre Adams, IFBB pro athlete, also NASM master trainer and owner of Snap Fitness Kenosha. We've been doing some crazy stuff over the last year or so.
Yes.
Just kind of scaling, the fitness brand or industry in this area, which has been phenomenal. So we've had a lot of athletes kind of mix with different sports, right? You guys do basketball, some of the hoopers, but then also just like our day-to-day lifestyle clients. So that's been great. Getting ready for a gym expansion this summer and a supplement store. So
yeah,
we got a lot coming your way in Kenosha.
Yeah. So explain that. There's a store, because I work out at Andre's gym every morning, damn near, when I'm in town.
Yep.
And there's extra space on the end of the building. So what are you looking to do with that space exactly?
Yeah, so any of you guys that have been to our gym, you're kind of familiar with it, right? Tons of strength equipment, cardio equipment, plate-loaded equipment. The only thing that we were kind of lacking was really like that group functional fitness area. So we're going to add about 1,000 square feet of turfed area for all of our members, all of our athletes.
Nice.
That'll be fun. You can do some functional stuff, TRX type work, sled pushes, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then separate to that, we've got a standalone supplement shop going right up front, right off of Highway 50 there in Kenosha. So
yeah,
definitely something to keep on your radar. And in fact, we're kind of thinking about doing a little bit of grand opening. So maybe some details to follow. I'm thinking a Hoopers contest. What do you think, TJ?
Yeah, we actually talked about this a little bit off camera, but for everyone listening, we might be doing a 2v2 basketball tournament for a cash prize with a supplement prize on top of that. We don't know exactly how much, but could be a couple $1,000s on the line. And I think we could get some like hoopers out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, when there's some big money on the line, people are going to be
Playing hard.
hooping.
Playing
for
hard.
sure. We're going to bring it. We'll hook you guys up with cash prize, supplement stack. We'll do some extra giveaways from our sponsors. And who knows? Maybe the winner gets to play 2-on-2 against me and TJ. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that
that'd be
would be
dope.
wild.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
I'll get in shape for that one. I'll start shooting again, too.
That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
whole, that's 2 YouTube videos.
Mhm.
It
The
is.
whole, we hosted a 2v2 tournament, and then the winner of that plays you and me.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah, it could be my last dance. My knee's got at least one more good game in it, so you guys better be ready.
Hey, man, we played, when did we do the 2v2 video? Like
About a month ago,
A
I
month
think.
ago, and this
Yeah.
dude was jumping out the gym still.
Yeah, and you said you hadn't picked up a ball in like 5 years
Been
before
about
that.
5 years.
Yeah.
In fact, the last time I touched one was actually at First Form headquarters, ironically, just goofing around. And I still love it, though. As soon as you get it, the shot's a little off, but the
Yeah.
handles never seem to go away for some reason. And the jumps, the hops never seem to go away. So, yeah.
Hell yeah. So where exactly are you from? I know we've been getting close
Yeah.
over the past couple months and, just being in the gym and shit, talking business and stuff.
Yep.
But I don't really know too much personal stuff about you and your life and your story. So where exactly are you from and how did all of this stuff happen?
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually born and raised right here, homegrown in Kenosha, Wisconsin. My parents are from down south. So my dad was actually in Georgia.
Okay.
My mom was in Texas. They met in this area, been here ever since. But it's been quite a crazy journey, honestly. It kind of started and evolved with basketball originally as a kid.
Okay.
My whole childhood, all the way up until I was early 20s, I was yes, it's basketball all the way, right? Huge Jordan fan growing up. Grew up, and I'm I'm 5'8", 5'9", so that's probably not going to happen. Football, liked it, didn't love it, wasn't really my thing. But then I did get into weights pretty much my whole life. So 13 and up, my dad had me weight training. So that was kind of laying the foundation for what was to come.
Yep. Yeah.
But got in boxing for a few years. Back in the day, racing boxing was kind of the thing, right? You're 18, 19 years old. You're kind of lost trying to find yourself as a young man. And I always say, the boxing days turn like young boys into men. So that was like another foundation, kind of gives you that confidence, that self-discipline, that work ethic. That's probably the hardest stuff I've ever done, by the way. But then it came into like powerlifting and eventually bodybuilding, right? Where I kind of landed and stayed there. I've been there now for 12 to 15 years, something like that. And we're just going with it, but figuring out how to also make that a sustainable career, right? How can you take that and monetize it?
Yeah.
That part, we'll get into that a little bit deeper later. That took a long time.
Yeah.
Because I was still working full time all the way up until I was 35. So, you know, my whole corporate career, and then on the side, you're following your passions, you know, the fitness career, all that stuff.
Oh, so you were like working a legit job and
Yeah.
on the side just doing the bodybuilding stuff and the, you know.
Right. 50, 60 hours a week, traveling all the time. And then on the weekends, I'd travel all over the world competing in bodybuilding. So we'd be in Germany or Russia or Canada, whatever. Just
What?
Yeah,
So you said
we
you
went
worked
all
a
over.
job till 35. So how old are you right now?
Yep. I'll be 38 in May.
Okay, so you've
Yeah.
been doing this like full time now for like what, 3 years?
Yeah, about 3 years. We went full-time entrepreneurship. COVID. So
Yeah.
one of the blessings that came out of
Yeah.
COVID, we
Nah,
pivoted.
for real.
The supplements shop will actually be our fourth business. So we actually launched an engineering firm originally.
Wow.
Came back, stepped out of the corporate position, which everyone thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
Because I worked 17 years to get there.
Yeah.
And climbed this corporate ladder, right? I'm all the way up at the top, making a really good salary. It was a very healthy salary, but it wasn't my passion. And I knew somehow I got to figure out how to translate this business acumen into something we can do with fitness, right? Because that's where I love being. I love coaching other athletes. I love competing. And COVID opened up an opportunity where it forced everyone to work from home.
Yeah.
So during that period, there was a lot of furloughs, like not enough work. People are laying off a lot of engineers and even like marketing people, right? Trying to lower their costs. So we actually started a consulting firm that allowed employers to leverage our team without having like a fixed overhead, right? So you're not adding headcount to your business. It's just contract work. If the work dries up, there's another recession or whatever, you can kind of just cut ties, right?
Yeah.
You're not paying them benefits and stuff. So that's what initially allowed us to step out of the W-2 world, run our own business, and then free up 3-4 days a week where I could start to scale the fitness business.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we spent all of 2020, 2021 growing our online coaching business to the point where we had fully replaced the other income and we bought the gym. And it was like the boom, 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 right? It was fast too.
That's
It was
so
like
dope.
12 to 18 months. And now we're at the point where we're, you know, literally in our second expansion and launching the fourth business, which is the supplement store.
That's wild.
That is extremely fast. A matter of what, 2 years since you
2
got
years,
the
yeah.
Damn,
That-
that is crazy.
That had to be like a good feeling though. To
It
replace
feels surreal.
to like when you hit that money mark of replacing your other job,
Yeah.
and then you're like, oh shit, now we could like put this money into other stuff
Right.
and
For
start
your dream, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to work 60, 70 hours a week and you're killing yourself, why not do it for your passion, your dream? Why are you trying to do that to
Yeah.
support someone else's dream that owns the business? So it's one of those things where people ask me all the time, like, how do I get started? How do I do it? I think the biggest thing is making yourself available to see and act upon the opportunities. Right? If you are 100% preoccupied with your day-to-day, you're caught up in the whirlwind of a W-2 job.
Yeah.
And W-2 jobs are great. We need people to run
100%.
businesses, right? But it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
And until you step out of that, you're not going to see the opportunity. Or if you do see it, you're not in a position to act on it,
Yeah.
right? So, for instance, when we bought the gym, I never would even been looking for a gym to buy, right? We had bought all the equipment during COVID because I was looking for it. A gym went under. We bought them all out, got it for pennies on the dollar, put it in the storage, you know, so you're actively looking at it. Good analogy for you guys. You ever been, let's take Leap and Snap right now, right? Highway 50 is under construction.
Yeah.
It's kind of a pain to pull out, right?
Yeah.
If you're like looking at your phone, you're not looking at the traffic, you're never going to see the opening for you to pull out onto the road, as silly as that sounds.
Yeah, you never will.
But when you put the phone down and you're looking, you see the opportunity, you take it, and you act on it, right? It's the same thing in business. You got to be looking for it.
Literally, bro. That was a crazy. How did you come up with that
I
there?
was
man?
literally pulling out a snap when that popped in my head. I was like, man, this is like some real life stuff right here.
Yeah, nah, for real. So when you were doing all these sports, you know, basketball, football, boxing, were you like, you know what I'm saying, better than everybody else? Were you like average, or were you like,
Yeah.
what was the, how'd you do
I'll
that?
be honest, I was blessed as a young man with great athletic genetics.
Yeah.
I didn't have, ironically, I'm a pro bodybuilder. I didn't have the genetics to just get huge easily.
Yeah.
I had the strength genetic and the speed genetic.
Yeah.
And I got that 100% from my dad. He was the same way. His dad was the same way. I could out jump anyone in school all the way up to adulthood. I was faster than anyone in a foot race all the way up to adulthood. I mean, I remember being like 5'6" the first time I dunked, and people were like mind blown, you know? And it was not something that I had like practiced. I don't know. I could just jump high.
Yeah.
So that definitely helps you in everything, right? Whether you're boxing, you're playing football or basketball, when you've got the agility and the quickness.
Yeah.
Now later, right, fast forward 20 something years, because of all the high impact sports, my knees started to go. And from heavy training, you know, I was squatting 600, 650 pounds for years, like 15 years, right?
Yeah.
So it does take its toll on your joints and stuff as you get older. But that genetic, man, I'm telling you, that thing. So I remember a saying in amateur boxing, they had it pasted on the wall, and it was amateur boxing, 80% of that is conditioning, right? And 20% is skill. And if you think about like your natural genetics and then being in good shape, that's going to get you about 80% of the way as an amateur. And you've probably noticed as you get to the like really elite levels, even in basketball, then it goes from the conditioning and the genetics to like skill and work ethic, right?
Yeah.
You got to have the skill at that
Reps
point.
and reps and reps.
Yes. Yeah. So then it shifts, right, where it skews it more to the skill end of the spectrum than just flat out athleticism.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's where I found myself usually. What about you guys though? So you started with basketball when you were younger, right? That was like your first love?
Yeah, well, not
Or did you have
necessarily.
another sport?
So I actually started in gymnastics.
Okay.
So my parents put me in gymnastics, I want to say preschool, like pre-K, like the little kids class, just running around, jumping on trampolines and shit.
Here in Kenosha?
Here in
You
Kenosha.
were probably at Scamps, huh?
Scamps Gymnastics.
Yeah, I was at Scamps as a kid too, see?
Man.
We got that in common.
That's why you're dunking.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'm a firm believer that, like, gymnastics, like, the shit that I do today, I would not be doing if it wasn't for gymnastics.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
my dad might have gave me some athletic genes, you know, or whatever, but when I was doing gymnastics from pre-K, I think I went all the way up to, like, 4th or 5th grade is when I quit. I was always faster, more shredded than everybody. Like, I was in 2nd grade, jacked, bro. Like, everyone would be like, what the hell? Like, I was in class doing the splits, and people would be like, oh, no, he didn't. He just did the splits. Like, so I think, like, that shit made me crazy athletic.
What do you think was your biggest influence as a kid? Was it, so for me, it was intrinsic. It was two things with my dad too, but I was very competitive. Did you find that it was more of a competitive thing for you, or was it like, I had somebody that, you know, I'm aspiring to be like?
Yeah, definitely competitive. My dad kind of, you know, just kind of raised me that way to be a little bit competitive, but also humble at the same time. You know, if we go win a championship, you know, we're going to celebrate, but we're not going to shit on the other team, or, you know, we're going to pat him on the back and say, good game. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, I think gymnastics just turned me into a beast, and then came around to, you know, football, baseball, basketball. And I originally thought, damn, I'm going to the NFL. Because when I was playing football, like 2nd grade through like middle school, I was just rocking kids, bro. Like, I don't know what it was, but
you got the agility and the quickness too, so.
Man, I feel bad now because I actually put a kid in a stretcher. Like it was getting crazy. I was so fast, but I would just lower my head, you know, and just rock people. I hit some kid so hard in like 2nd or 3rd grade that his sternum broke in half, like cracked in half.
Yeah.
So he had to go to the hospital. Like that's a wild story.
He wasn't ready.
That's
for
a wild story. I wonder who I always think, like, I wonder who that kid was.
Yeah.
You know. So if you're listening, you know who that was.
Slide a DM.
Shoot the DMs, because I want to apologize. But yeah, football, baseball, basketball. Thought I was going to the NFL in middle school, and then I just fell in love with basketball. Like 8th grade, 9th grade, I was like, man, I know I could be better than a lot of people if I just put in the work.
Let's see, what time frame were you in, like 8th, 9th grade? Like 20?
I graduated high school in 2018, so
8th, 9th grade was probably
2014.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had a whole different group of like potential role models, you know, faces in the sport.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about that. Like what who do you think
like
inspired you?
what athletes?
Yeah, where you were just like, man, that was really cool. I want to do that.
Man, definitely Kobe.
Yeah,
100%.
the Mamba.
Yeah.
Rest
Like,
in peace, Kobe.
you know, listening to that like
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, Kobe Bryant song. I don't know if you ever heard of that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that
I
was
remember.
like the jam back
That was
in
a
the day.
bag.
Kobe
like-
was a monster, man. I mean, he's MJ 2.0, right?
Yeah.
So the funny little story about Kobe for you, I told you I have an 800 horsepower Mustang GT in the
Yeah.
garage, right?
Yeah.
It's all black on black, so it's all blacked out, everything. And we named it. It's 2008. We named it the Black Mamba after
Yeah.
Kobe. Yeah,
Hell
'cause
yeah.
it's a killer.
It is, man. It's
Yeah.
it's such a horrible thing how he went out, man.
is.
Like I still can't believe it.
Yeah, I cried that day, man. And I'm a huge MJ fan. I grew up in that era, right? So
Yeah.
MJ was my idol growing up, and I saw Kobe coming up from the beginning, and I was just like, man, this guy's gonna be the next Jordan, right? And he literally was like a Jordan clone, which was insane
Literally,
to me.
Yeah.
Like you could do the side by side videos.
Side
And
by
it's the
side are
same,
the same.
right? He was his little brother.
It's crazy.
And man, me being a father of two young girls, I'm not gonna lie. When I read that article that morning, I cried.
Oh yeah,
You
I
know,
cried too.
Yeah, and then to all the other families too, right? There was a lot of other people on there, but man, it was just it's something that you would never expect, especially for like one of your idols or your heroes, you know?
Yeah.
It was so
Yeah.
random.
Like who goes
Yeah.
down in a helicopter
Yeah,
crash?
it's so rare. Like that doesn't happen, you know?
There was something about Kobe that was like, he was so iconic in like his work ethic, everything. For some reason, he felt like one of those people that like he would never die. Like
Right,
he
like he's
felt
immortalized,
invincible.
right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was just so weird. It was completely random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that mindset that he has, like,
Mhm.
you know, that MJ mindset,
Yeah,
that Kobe
killer
Bryant
instinct.
mindset.
Mamba mentality.
Yep.
Bro, like, I can't believe the amount of hours and, like, the reason why they're one of the greatest players of all time is because of how many hours
Yeah.
they put in the gym. Like, they're getting up 5 a.m., lifting weights,
Yep.
coming home, going back to the gym, putting up 1,000 shots,
Right.
coming back home, going back to the gym and lifting weights. Like, it's just like, what the hell?
I think it was Malcolm Gladwell, the author Malcolm Gladwell, that made the comment in one of his books about the 10,000 hours rule, right?
The theory.
The
Oh,
theory,
my God.
right? And when you've got
Yeah.
the 10,000, I don't care if you're playing flute, I don't care if you're learning any other skill, right? Basketball, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit that 10,000 hour mark, that's kind of like you've 100% mastered that skill, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
And just what you said with that crazy work ethic, the repetition. I remember in the 90s seeing like documentaries on Roy Jones Jr., one of my favorite boxers
Yeah.
of all time. He was untouchable in the 90s and 2000s, right? And he was throwing his left hook. And he was talking about how autonomous it is, right? And how there's no hindrance, there's no conscious thought. It's just he sees something, boom, and it's there. And he said the only way to achieve that was just repetition after repetition after repetition. So
Yeah.
I think it's like that with anything you do, whether it's like a business topic or it's a skill that you're learning for an athletic
Yeah.
It
sport.
is 100% because
Yeah.
like I'm a musician, and I swear when I first started making music with Tristan, it was one of the hardest things in the world for me. Like I just couldn't get anything going through my brain. Now
Yeah.
it's like, bro, I can sit down and make a absolute hit
Yeah.
15 minutes. Like it's nothing.
Yep.
It used to take us hours on hours to do a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. You probably don't even know that. The reason why we're friends is because we started making music together in high school.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to check out some of your stuff too.
Yeah, no.
Man.
You gotta make
most of it.
me a custom song next time I'm on stage do my bodybuilding posing. Yeah, make me some custom music for that. That'd be great. The
Yeah, like the walkout song.
walkout
Yeah.
song. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, that
yeah.
comes down to him. He's the beat maker.
Yeah,
Oh, there
no,
you go.
I make probably 10 beats a week, just like messing around in my
Nice.
free time.
Yeah.
If I was making beats, I could probably like full time. I could probably
Yeah.
make 100 of
Just
them.
crank them out. Yeah.
But the reason I love doing it, but also in the background of the YouTube videos, if you use like a normal everyday song you see on the radio,
yeah.
you're gonna get copyrighted,
Yep.
Mhm.
which means you get demonetized for that video.
I was going to ask you about that because I've noticed that, right?
Yeah. So then I was like, well, shit, I already know how to make beats. Why don't I just make beats and use those for the background of my YouTube videos?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we've been doing.
That's good. Now, can you get to a point where you can even make beats and sell them to other people, so where they can use them?
Definitely.
I'm just, now you got my gears turning.
No, for sure. And like over the years, I've gotten really close with some of like the biggest rappers, artists in the world, and I've always been thinking like, man, I could send some shit to these other rappers, and that would also open up another,
it's another platform, revenue stream, broaden it out, right? Different segment.
Exactly. So that's always been a thought. But I just
plus it'd be how cool it would be if you like made a post and it was just like random example like in the credits NLE Choppa produced by Tristan Jass. That'd be the craziest thing ever.
But see, you guys hit on something really important here. So my mind is always turning as we're talking. My mind's turning.
It's that entrepreneurial.
It's the entrepreneurial spirit, right?
Yeah.
And the two things that really stand out to me of why you're successful, same reason I'm successful. It's really the creativity mindset, right? You're not just doing one thing. You're creative. You've got this skill set that you can adapt to many different platforms, right? And then the networking, what I mean by that is us sitting here collaborating, right? That's one thing.
Yeah.
But your experience from traveling the world, man, that is the most impactful thing. So when I talk about where I was at like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I had the same mindset. The only thing I lacked, I hadn't traveled the world. I had a Kenosha only mindset, right? Once I started getting out there, meeting people, talking to people, making relationships, networking, collaborating, it was like such an accelerated entrepreneurship curve. It was insane. Just what you saw in 2 to 3 years. Yeah. It was all from traveling and experience. So
yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who you're going to run into. And I'm a big person like, man, like there's a lot of negativity in the world. There's a lot of hate in this world. It costs $0 to be a nice person.
Exactly.
And if you're a nice person all the time, you might run into somebody that could, random person could just like you for being a genuine nice person. And that person could have so much impact on your life.
Yeah.
It's insane. I've met so many people from traveling, even just by going out. You never know who you're going to meet, like whether it's in the club or if it's at the bar, wherever. You never know. On a plane, wherever, man. Like, you never know who you're going to meet. And my big thing is, like, it's all about who you know. Yeah. Not what you know. So
and you can leverage those connections, right? By adding value to them, they're going to reciprocate it back to you.
Man.
It's beautiful how it works.
So important. I wanted to go back, though, about when you started, making money with your entrepreneur stuff, to what was your mindset leaving your job to do what you're doing now? Like, were there hard times, like trying to figure it out? Because, everything looks, great. You're doing a great job, but I'm sure there was at some point like, damn, like doubt and like wanting to quit. Like, talk about that a little bit.
Scared as hell. That's the first emotion, right?
Yeah.
Especially making that first move. So what really did it for me, I think it's two things. It's building momentum and confidence. When you believe in yourself, right? You got to have like full on self-efficacy that if I do the work, I'm going to reap the reward. And if I don't, I'm going to pivot. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to find a way to work, right? Yep. And most of the time, the businesses don't pan out the way that you think they will.
Yeah.
Like the way that we ended up making that transition was nothing like how I envisioned it, but it actually worked out beautifully. So I think the first thing was I was actually working here in Kenosha for about 15 years as a mechanical engineer, engineering manager, and then a product manager for a company in the wastewater treatment industry, right?
Oh, okay.
It's so random, right?
Yeah.
But excelled, and I saw accelerated growth there, especially the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
Got to a point where I outgrew the company and got an offer from a much larger company, basically doubled the salary, right?
Wow.
And it was a scary transition there because I didn't have some of the formal education requirements like the master's degree and stuff that they wanted for a senior product management role.
Okay.
And they made an exception because once I interviewed, they're like, holy shit, he's good. He knows what he's talking about, right?
Hell yeah.
Got in there, leapfrogged all of my colleagues within the first 6 months. Right. By year 2, I actually was the leading senior product manager there, and they rolled a lot of value streams underneath my position. Then in my head, I'm like, wow, 18 months, into this. And not only did I wash, rinse, repeat, I did it even better than what took me 15 years prior. Right. So at that point, I'm like, look, if I can run $100 million business for someone else, why can I not run my own business? Right. That makes zero sense. So let's just refocus all of that energy into our own business and see where it goes.
Yeah.
I look at it as, if you were at work, what would you do? I'm not going to let it fail. You would figure it out. So we did the same thing. And you got to be smart, right? Because I have kids, I got responsibilities, we got obligations.
100%.
I got a wife, right? And that was me being like, the bread maker. You gotta cover those bases. So if you're familiar with like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've got that safety and security is that first one. And then you get into the other phases, like, the financial aspect and all that stuff. Once you cover the food and security, you can take a little bit more risk up here.
Yeah.
Right. Because then you're focusing more on achieving happiness and fulfillment and purpose than just, cash flowing. I'd rather make 200 a year and be happy as all hell, content, not killing myself working 100 hours a week, than make 500 and be so miserable that I can't enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? So there's that threshold, and that's where I was at about 2 years ago. But it basically gave us the funds to cover the risk as we transitioned, and then scaled the online coaching so that it just completely replaced the other income. Yeah. And then the gym is just like, all right, now we're making big changes, right? These are step changes now. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's interesting, but everyone's journey is going to be different there too.
Yeah.
If I had to redo the whole thing all over, it might look completely different yet again.
So you mentioned, like, they gave you that position at that job without having a master's degree. Did you actually go to college at all, or do you have a degree at all, or did you not go to college, or?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. So here's how we'll call it the formal education side evolved. As an engineer, which is where I started, I actually went to Lakeview Tech Academy. I was one of the first graduating classes out of there. They came in 98. We're going old school.
You're talking about like right across the street from the Recplex?
Yeah. So when they first opened it in the 90s, late 90s, I was one of the first classes there. I think I was the third graduating class out of there. Yeah. And that kind of preset me on this pathway at the time to become some kind of engineer. Yeah. Because my dad was like big into cars. That's why I have a Mustang and a Nova today. I was like, all right, gearhead all the way. Let me just become a mechanical engineer. I like this stuff. I like tinkering, taking things apart, figuring them out. So they gave us all like the foundational skill set. And by 16, I actually had, like a youth options apprenticeship program at Snap-on Hand Tools.
Okay. No way.
Which was nuts. So I was 16, and like the average age in their engineering department's like 50.
Yeah.
So that was kind of weird for me, but it gave me all this. I would just say it made me level up mentally, also made me mature a little bit faster. Because
I was gonna say it probably made you mature, being especially being around older people.
Constantly around adults.
Right, and you know how we are at 16, right?
Yeah.
We're goofy ass boys, right? We're doing pranks and doing weird stuff.
Ding dong ditching,
So putting that cap on made me definitely mature a little bit faster. So it kind of again just reset me on this mechanical engineering course. I'm actually a Gateway Tech alumni. Originally, I got a 2-year degree in mechanical design, mechanical engineering technology, and stayed the course at my first employer, my first full-time employer. So I had the apprenticeship gig at Snap-on, and then went at 18 to Centrisa's Corporation, stayed there 15 years, which was nuts. You don't see that anymore.
That was your 15-year.
That was the 15-year run, and I started from like an entry-level designer, like CAD person, to a leading mechanical engineer, to one of only 2 of the machine designers, to an engineering manager, to a product manager. And involved in sales. So it was like, boom, it was quick. Yeah. Because of that, I never really, and I wasn't sure because I switched kind of career path. I went from this engineering role to a more sales and marketing focused product management role. So I was about halfway through going back online through Arizona State University at the time of finishing my engineering management degree.
Okay.
and switched roles into product management, I'm like, all right, well, do I really need to be taking differential equations and calculus 3 for a product management sales role? It doesn't really make sense, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
So switched then to technology entrepreneurship management. Highly recommend this degree for anybody who's listening. One of the most valuable things I've ever done. And that technology entrepreneurship management, didn't even finish the degree. The reason I didn't is because I ended up retiring altogether from the corporate world.
Yeah.
So I don't really need it at this point. But the classes and the material that I learned there were just phenomenal.
Yeah.
The reason that it was so impactful for me is because I was actively living an entrepreneurship life as I was taking these classes. And it was just amazing. I could read these business development principles, competitive strategy, management, and I'm actively applying those day in and day out.
Yeah.
So it was like, holy crap, I'm learning like the formal stuff, but I've got the informal experiential knowledge of actually doing the shit and doing it at a really high level for many years.
Yeah.
So that's really, I think, what gave me that skill set that shined, with or without the master's degree. They're just like, hey, this guy knows his shit. So I think the difference today, like for people that are out in the W2 world, the formal education is less impactful or less important now than it was maybe 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You would not have got like that position, that job without the degree back then. Now employers are like, look, if they got the skills to do this job and do it at a high level, hire them.
Yeah.
Right.
So for everybody out there that doesn't understand, you should let them know what you mean by W2 world.
Yeah. So the W2 world, right? That's the mousetrap. That's your 9 to 5. It's, and there's, again, that we need people in those roles, and some of those roles are really good.
Yeah.
If you have a really hard driven entrepreneurship mindset, that's something that they don't, generally teach in school, and you feel trapped, it's probably a calling that there's something greater out there calling you, waiting for you.
100%.
One thing I'll say that I've seen so many people fail at, so let's talk about that, right? People that want to become an entrepreneur, A, you got to get comfortable with failure, but B, you got to pay your dues, man. There's a lot of people that are like, I'm only going to work for something that I feel passionate about. And it's like, all right, well, that's cool, but you do have to understand financial. You do have to understand taxes. Yeah. You got to understand algorithms if you're on social.
No, you're
so
right,
you got to like
man.
pay your dues. No one likes doing that part of it. They just want to do the fun shit.
Yeah.
So just staying grounded and recognizing that you still have to build this while you're pursuing those passions.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to lay the groundwork.
Yeah. People ask me all the time, like, what should I do if I want to start making YouTube videos? And I'm like, well, first of all, I love what I do. I love basketball.
Yeah.
I make a lot of basketball content. It doesn't feel like a job. Like, I don't wake up every morning like, shit, I got to go make a video today.
Right.
Like, this shit is fun. So I try to tell people, do what you love to do. But then again, it is very hard to build that platform.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
To monetize it, right.
To monetize it. So you do have to, like, if you're going to go that entrepreneur route, you got to put your head down and go.
Yeah.
You feel me? Just like how you did.
Yep.
Just kind of like how we did. We were sneaking into gyms in high school on school nights, in there until 4 a.m. trying to make a trick shot because we knew it was going to go viral.
Yep.
So, like, you do have to, you could do what you love, but you got to you definitely do have to put in the dirty work to
for sure.
build that thing,
And I think a problem with a lot of people is, like, with music, people ask me, like, how do you start with YouTube? People ask that. But the problem is a lot of people are, like, way too scared to actually start. Like, I feel like people are very thrown off by what other people might think of them, and they actually just never get into what they want to do.
Right.
That is a big thing. I feel like, what do they say? Like, opinions kill dreams or something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
too much external validation, too much weight placed on that, right? I think, like, especially for the younger crowd, people tend to look at the outcome and they say, I want that.
Yep.
But they don't understand the 10,000 hours that it took to get to that outcome, right? So people see, like, when you see me post our athletes or myself on the Olympia stage, right?
Yeah.
And right away people are like, sign me up. I want to be a competitor. because they think that they can just hop on stage, right, do like a little 12-week prep, and they're going to look like how we look on Olympia, not realizing I've been doing this stuff since I was 12 years old, right? And there's probably a lot more than 10,000 hours that go into that. So just recognizing that you got to pay your dues and do the fundamental things. The other thing, and this is a good question for you guys, I see a lot of is people will start out doing those things, and then they feel like I've made it. Right. I've made it. I've got the platform. I've got the brand awareness. People know who I am. And they stop doing those fundamental things that got them there. And then they fall off. Whereas the really successful ones, we're grinding. I'm still doing the stuff I was doing 10 years ago that got me here.
Exactly.
Right.
And it don't matter if we made it already.
Yeah. Because we've never truly made it. Other people might think we've made it. But you're already thinking about, look at MJ. He's selling the Bobcats right now, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know.
I just saw. So Google this stuff while we're sitting here. If one of you guys got a phone, Google this. I'm pretty sure MJ this week is looking at selling his ownership stake, which is whatever, like 95%.
Yeah.
We're talking like $2 billion, right?
Wow.
So you would think by now MJ's kind of made it, right?
Yeah.
Kind of got that GOAT title. If he doesn't have it, he's right there.
Yeah.
And financially, we know he's made it, but he's already looking at the next thing.
Yeah.
I've owned a team. That's cool and all. I'm gonna flip it, right, for like tenfold of what I paid for it. And I'm gonna go over here and do something else.
Exactly.
So you've never truly made it.
Yeah, no, I'm a firm believer in that. Like for me, you said it perfectly. Yeah, we got however many million subscribers, followers, whatever you want to say, but like if I stop posting for the next 6 months and I go ghost and I come back, it might not be the same, you know what I'm saying?
100%. Yep.
As I don't know, I'm a very firm believer in that. Like that's why we're still going. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, we built up this shit like crazy, but like we literally can't stop because if we stop, the business stops.
Yeah, we're never satisfied. We have meetings about this all the time. Also, Ronnie was confirming that is true.
Yeah, so there you go. I mean, that's a perfect example of, so you guys have seen my hashtag that we trademarked. We coined it the ain't done yet mindset.
Ain't done yet.
Infinite mindset.
Yep.
MJ ain't done yet, right?
Yeah.
A little note on that too, because you guys will love it. You guys live by this principle and you might not even know it. So if you think about, I think it was Simon Sinek that talked about infinite mindset, right? And if you've got the finite mindset, so let's take me as a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
I want to step on stage and win first place.
Yep.
That's a finite mindset. I can't go any higher than that. It's clearly defined, right? I'm in a box. Versus I want to become the best every single time I step on stage. I want to have a better version of myself every time I step on stage. That's infinite mindset. There's no limit to it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Ain't Done Yet's about. So whether you're a hooper, you're a bodybuilder, you're a business professional, you got to have that ain't done yet mindset where you're continuously improving.
Yeah, I definitely am in the infinite side because one thing with me is I'm like the type of person who's not even driven by money or anything. Like everything for me is 100% like I just want to be better than I was last year at like music. Like that's all I give a fuck about. I want to look back at my songs and be like, this shit was garbage. You are that man now.
Right.
Like that's all I care about is being better at what we were doing.
It's the progress, bro.
It
all
is.
that matters.
Trust in the process and believing in what you're doing.
Yeah, because if you're improving every single year, every single day, whatever you're doing, whether it's a business, whether it's literally anything, you're going to get the benefits from that.
Yeah, and man, it's such a cool thing like when you put in the work for something. Like I remember when I started taking basketball seriously, being a small point guard, I knew I had to have the best handles. No one's taking the ball for me. So what did I do? Every single day from probably 7th or 8th grade all the way up till I was done into high school, like literally like once a day, I would either be in my driveway, I would be in the basement, I would be, I didn't really have a gym membership growing up as a kid until like later in high school. But I would be just doing ball handling drills all the time. Yep. Whenever I had free time, because I knew if I could find 30 minutes in my day to set aside to do some ball handling drills, if I do that every day for a year, then how good am I going to be with my ball handling skills?
Right.
So that was a cool thing to see. You get to see when you put in the work, the progress, and then it becomes addicting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting this good. What happens if I do it for another year? How good am I going to get? So that was a cool thing.
Yeah.
I think another thing that people don't realize either is, like, I think people take for granted the journey to getting to, like, where you want to be, because when we think back to, like, when we were really, really grinding in 2018 or something, those are still some of the best moments we've ever had, way cooler than anything that's happening now. Like, we look back at being in his grandma's basement still is some of the coolest shit we ever did, even though, like, we were broke as fuck. Like, but those are the moments that define everything that we are right now.
Yeah. And I wish we could go back and do it all over.
That's what I'm saying.
Again.
Like,
That's
some
100% right.
people take advantage of that. It is so important to remember that, like, when you're on that journey, that's the best part sometimes.
Yeah, you got to really, like, enjoy it. I wish I was so, like, focused on just getting, like, I wanted to be famous. I wanted to prove everybody who talks shit about me wrong. Like, you got to enjoy it. Sit back a little bit and enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a long journey, man.
It's the process that defines you. So I love that you guys hit on that, because I'm a huge believer in that too. I actually spoke on a First Forum video a few years back on exactly that, and it was entitled Falling in Love with the Process. Right? So again, people see the outcomes. They want the outcomes, and they base all of their validation on the outcomes, right? Maybe things pan out the way you envision, maybe they don't. But if you fall in love with the journey of reaching that goal, you're unstoppable, because you're not going to quit, right? And you just got to go through it over and over. I think it was Tim Grover. You know Tim, right?
Yep.
So Tim, and it was either Winning or Relentless. He talks about when people feel like they've made it, and they
Oh, did you read those books?
Oh, hell yeah. I own both copies and an audiobook.
Great.
You know, it's one of those things where I love the analogy he used about winning, right? You kind of reach your destination. You take this bus, and you know, you get on the bus. It's got a sign on it that says winning, right? And you reach this pinnacle, right? But as soon as you leave the after party, the bus, it's the same bus waiting for you when you come out, but now it says hell, because you got to go through hell all over again if you want to stay at the top and continue to win. And that was like, that shit resonated with me, man, because, you know, you think you went through this journey, and I'm here now, I've arrived, but guess what? You got to keep going through it. You got to love it, and you got to keep pushing yourself through that journey to stay on top, right?
That's crazy you say that. For the past, like, year or two, I've been saying that, like, we got to go back to hell and fucking work our way out to get back to the top again. Like, sometimes you have to do that.
You got to remember that feeling, what it was like in the basement, right? What it was like sneaking in the gym. You got to remember what it took for you to get to where you're at today. And sometimes revisit it. Keeps you grounded, keeps it fresh for you.
Man, we got to go revisit Grandma's basement, man.
Back to Grandma's basement.
Just go sit down there for a sec and be like, man.
I mean, even metaphorically, we just have to get back in. We have to, like, stay in that exact mindset. Like, this, we're not shit. Like, you always have to think, like, we're not shit.
Ain't done yet.
Ain't done yet. Exactly.
We ain't done yet. Man, that's
you, man.
So you trademarked that.
I trademarked it because once I put it out there and everyone understood it, they were speaking and living Ain't Done Yet already. They just didn't realize it.
Well, so many people are around the world.
Exactly.
That's fire. So would you get, like, a website and stuff, or what is?
No, we just did a U.S. patent and trademark, you know, just for branding, marketing purposes.
You gonna get, like, shirts going and shit?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So all of our team, if you follow us on social media, everyone uses the Ain't Done Yet hashtags. But man, it's a code that we live by, honestly. So every time I wake up and I'm feeling overwhelmed, and, you know, you almost get to the point where it's like business is too good, where I'm like, I'm drowning right now.
Yeah.
And then I have to recenter myself and think about that exact sentiment. Like, no, we ain't done yet. Everything that you're living today is stuff that you were wishing for 5-10 years ago. Right? You were wishing to get to this point. And now you're here. So what are you going to do with it?
That's crazy you say that. Like, I always think, like, what would I think? Like, where I'm at right now, what would my, like, 16-year-old self think? Or, like, I go back to even, like, my grandpa Jass, rest in peace, my dad's dad. Like, he was a huge fan of me before I was a fan of myself. Like, he saw the potential in me, and he would tell everybody when he's going out to McDonald's to get a coffee Wednesday mornings with all of his buddies that he used to work with.
Mm-hmm.
He would even tell my brothers, like everyone, like, Tristan is going to be something. And I
it.
wish he was here to see this shit
Mm-hmm.
because he told everybody.
Yeah.
And now, like, I don't know, shit's just crazier now, and I wish he was able to see that.
That's going to be your motivation, though, internally when things get hard. Because out of every, like, 10 years, what's the rule of thumb? Like, 10 years in business, you're going to have, like, 6, 7 great years. You're going to have 1 or 2 years that almost completely break you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to have 1 or 2 phenomenal, out-of-this-world years.
Exactly.
And whenever you go through those tough years, you're going to think about that. Your grandpa believed in you, right? And that's something that you can use as intrinsic motivation to push a little harder.
No, you're right.
Yep.
So we got a trip coming up.
Yeah,
to
we do.
St. Louis.
St. Louis, first form in the house. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a fun one. For you guys that don't know, I've actually been a sponsored athlete with First Form for, a decade now.
A decade?
2013.
No way.
Since the beginning. So shout out to my guys, Andy Frisella, Cody Klein, the whole team over there, Nick Clements. They've done such a phenomenal job. If you haven't, listened to Andy's podcast, always dropping just insane entrepreneurship knowledge and just basic life skills, right?
Yeah.
So that's always something that helped kind of mold and shape my mindset from the early days. But, that's going to be a fun one for us, man. I'm excited to go down. Their headquarters is in St. Louis, and it's actually right next door to an Amazon. And I haven't even been to, they just constructed a second building. They're like twice the size of Amazon, which is insane to me.
Yeah. What did you say the square footage was on that building?
I want to say it's somewhere in the ballpark of like 300,000 square feet on the first building. And I'm not sure how big the second is, maybe 180, 200,000 square feet. So you're talking like 500,000 square feet. It's insane.
That is wild.
So,
what the hell do they have in there?
Everything. It's like Willy Wonka factory. For you guys that are not familiar, if you've been to Summer Smash, you've seen it. So this year, June, I think it's the first week of June. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say it, but I'm going to say it today. It's going to be around the first week of June. Every year we do Summer Smash down in St. Louis.
Yeah.
It's like a big First Form party. They bring in crazy celebrity guests like Nelly and all kind of artists. It's a blast, but you get to tour the headquarters, and it's amazing. They've got like beyond all this, the supplements, obviously, which is the core of their business. They're huge on leadership and entrepreneurship mindset. Everyone that works in the factory has an opportunity to get educated, get certified through nutrition and training, and then work their way up into the offices and then start working their way up that corporate ladder. Wow. And they give you all the tools and resources to do it. There's a legit library in First Form where you go in and you have to spend so many hours reading a book, right? Self-enlightenment, self-help, just to elevate your mindset. So it's one of the most phenomenal things that I've ever seen. You'll see when we're down there.
Yeah.
But on top of that stuff, then you got the cool shit. So there's a whole indoor football arena. There's an NBA-sized basketball court. There's a gym that's probably twice the size of my gym, right? They got a gym that's like twice the size of Snap in headquarters, which is insane.
Yeah.
All kind of fun stuff. So I'm excited to come down there. We'll definitely do some kind of trick shots, or
we're gonna do some wild. We're gonna do some viral shit.
Yeah.
In the First Forum headquarters.
Maybe we'll have Andy do jump in the game with us. That would be fun.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And then we're going to do some podcasting down there.
Absolutely.
I think, what is their podcast called? They're pretty
So Andy's
poppin'.
is, I think he had the #1 entrepreneurship and business podcast for several years now, the MFCEO project.
Yeah.
Then there's the Real AF, or Real as Fuck.
Yeah.
So he's got a couple different platforms, but definitely Andy's always a blast to just pick his brain. And he loves to connect with other people like ourselves that share that same entrepreneurship mindset.
So when you signed with them like a decade ago, they weren't like what they are now, obviously, right?
Right. They were just starting out. The crazy thing is they had an athlete search. I had just got my IFBB pro card at the NPC Nationals that year. I was all like, I'm a pro now.
What exactly is that?
Yeah. So the pro card or the athlete search?
The pro card.
Yeah. So for you guys that are not familiar with bodybuilding, all the amateur athletes that are competing are trying to become IFBB professional athletes. Okay. So that means you're a pro athlete, right? in order to do that, you've got to first qualify at a regional show. So the local shows, which are still very competitive. Around here, we've got a lot of shows between, NPC Illinois, Shredded Cheddar here in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And once you crack like the top 5 there, or you win your class, then you can qualify to then compete in a national show. Much harder, right? So now you're weeding out some of the people who maybe aren't as good. And now to become an IFBB pro, you've got to win your height class or win an overall at a national show, which means you're a national champion.
So you won a national championship? So
here's the thing is, in the NPC, so it's grown exponentially, and that's short for National Physique Committee. They've grown so much that back in the day, it used to be just the overall winner, one pro card.
Oh, okay.
You guys remember like American Gladiators, kind of before your time, but they brought it back in the like 2000s. All right, so some of those American Gladiators were IFBB pro bodybuilders.
Okay.
It was really hard to go pro back then. You get one crack, you got to win the overall, which means you got to beat everybody. Now you can, for the really, really big shows, there's so many competitors. I mean, we're talking like 1,500 competitors.
Damn.
There used to be like 300. Okay, so there's like 1,500
in one show.
In one show, spread out over different divisions and classes. So you got the physique divisions, bodybuilding for women. You got bikini, figure, wellness, etc. And at the really big ones, it's the top 1 or 2 in each height class. So you still might have 30, 40 people that are all nationally qualified in your height class.
Yeah.
Then to win the overall, you got to beat the winners of all the other height classes.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do. I actually turned pro. Mine was a weird one. I turned pro off of a 2nd place finish at NPC Nationals to the now 4-time Mr. Olympia champ in men's physique, which is Brandon Hendrickson out of Chicago. We came up together and always were the same height. So we'd always be competing neck and neck every show.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. We both turned pro at that show. I won right away. I ended up winning Lou Ferrigno's pro show. Got invited to the first ever Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic for men's physique pros.
Wow.
In Columbus. Got to meet really cool people like Hulk Hogan and Evander Holyfield.
Wow.
It's insane,
Legendary.
Yeah, and then to the Mr. Olympia from there. So it was like this boom, boom, boom. Holy crap. 12 months into this sport, and I'm somebody. Right?
Yeah.
So that's really what built my platform in the bodybuilding community.
Yeah.
Is just that accelerated growth. But yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. So the IFBB pro level, that just means you got your pro card. You can now earn money, when you win shows.
Yeah.
And you're one of the elites. But there's levels to this. So even as a pro, there's a big gap between the pros and the Olympians. So you got to be a pro champion to then get to the Olympia, right? And then you're on stage with 30, 40, 50 other Olympians. So it's just, man, it just keeps going. It's harder and harder.
Have you tried to get to that stage?
Yeah, so I've been on every stage. So
so you've done the Olympia stuff.
Yeah, so 2015 was my first Olympia experience, which was really awesome. I qualified off of the pro win at the Ferrigno Legacy in 2014.
Okay.
And it was cool, man. I ended up placing like 13th out of 36 pro athletes. Physique showdown, that was a phenomenal experience. It was one of those too where like just a year prior, I was looking at, I'll call it my idols at the time in the sport. And then fast forward 12 months, I'm on stage trying to beat these guys, right?
Yeah.
So pumping up in the back pump room, and I'm looking at the guys that I've been idolizing like,
Idols
holy shit, I'm going to try and beat these guys.
To rivals.
So you've arrived, right? I haven't made it, but I've arrived. And it was a surreal experience. The same year I ended up placing top 7 at the Arnold Classic. It was actually the inaugural event. First time they had ever hosted pro men's physique. And they only invited the top 10 in the world that year, which was truly special that I got the invite.
Yeah.
Wow. You got invited as a top 10 in the
Top 10,
world?
the very first Arnold Classic men's physique pro showdown. Only 10 athletes invited, handpicked by Lorimer and Arnold, right? So that was like an incredible thing. So that's interesting too, right? So the Olympia is considered the Super Bowl, right? The epitome of bodybuilding. But the Arnold Classic's right there. It's also the largest multi-sports event on the planet, and you can't qualify for it. You can only get invited to it. Okay. So to me, that was like the greatest thing ever. I got to do both in the same year, qualified for one, got invited to the other. So truly special.
That is wild.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where are some like crazy places that bodybuilding? Because I know like for me like this basketball, this orange ball has taken me across the world. Literally Japan, Abu Dhabi, Paris, like just crazy places. Where has bodybuilding like taken you? You've probably been crazy places, right?
All over the place. Even just me as the athlete. So me as a coach is a whole nother experience. But just as an athlete, I've competed all over the world, really. Canada, Germany, Russia, you name it. The Russia one was a very interesting one. So
when was that?
Yeah,
not
let's touch
recent,
on that.
Right?
Ironically, it was right after the Olympia. So they only did they've got different shows and promotions that go on. That particular year, the Russia was called the Neva Pro Show, was I think the very next show after Olympia. So I'm like, look, I'm coming in. I'm fresh off the Olympia stage. I'm a new man, right? I'm shining like new money. Let me go get this money across the globe. And at the time I had placed ahead of one of my good buddies out there, Dennis, who, he struggled a little bit here in the States. Phenomenal physique, great athlete, super nice guy. It's tough for the European athletes here because the judges aren't familiar with them. There's a little bit different look, in my opinion, that they go for overseas. So now it was like, all right, I'm going here. I beat this guy multiple times. I got the big name. So let's go see what happens.
Yeah.
Sign up for the show, right? Phenomenal promotion at the time. And they kind of pitted me and Dennis against each other.
So do they do that in bodybuilding, like how they do with like MMA and boxing? Like it's
they tend to,
like,
in
is there
certain
like
circumstances, like
like
they try to build some hype, right?
Yeah, like I'm trying to think like press conferences. Did you have to do any shit like that? Or
I did. So that was one of the first times that I had ever done a press conference. Historically, that's usually reserved like at the Olympia for like open bodybuilding, right? You would have back in the day like Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. You would have Phil Heath and Kai Green. And they didn't get along, right? They genuinely disliked each other.
Yeah.
And I got to experience that actually with the Russia show. I didn't even know I was doing a press conference. I literally got dropped off by a limo at the event and then hadn't slept in like 15 hours. And they're just like, yeah, you're doing a press conference. And there was a translator. So it was like, didn't even get to go to my hotel room. It was straight into a press conference. But getting there in itself was quite the experience. So this is like 30-year-old Andre at the time.
Yeah.
And I had been accustomed to traveling a lot, but I hadn't done a lot of international travel.
Yeah.
So I was underprepared for that. A couple things there as a bodybuilder, especially on peak week, your final week, you're so meticulous about everything you're putting in your body. Every grain of rice, you're weighing it, right? Your water, your sodium, your protein. It's like every 2.5 hours, you're that specific. And trying to manage that on a 14, 15-hour flight with transfers and all that, it's really difficult for one, because you got to bring all your food with you. So that was one issue that was new for me. It made me really respect when the European athletes come over here. I'm like, wow, they have to do this every time.
Yeah.
But the night before, I get this email, and in the email, it was from the U.S. Embassy. It actually advised for me to not travel because of the level of danger. It was high risk.
Wait, the night before you're about to hop on a plane?
I'm about to hop onto a plane.
To go to Russia?
I literally was in Russia for like 36 hours and right back. That was it.
Damn.
And it was wild. Like an Israeli plane had just got shot down the day before. And I guess there was all this international turmoil, right? As allies to Israel, they were kind of putting a lot of heat on the U.S. And the biggest thing, it was also their National Pride Week, which is kind of like our 4th of July. And I guess because of the international turmoil that was happening, and then the year prior, something similar happened, and people that were not from Russia were being attacked in the streets. So this was basically sent to me 24 hours out. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm already under contract. I'm going. I'm already peaked out for the show.
Yeah.
I'm just going to roll the dice, right? And I'm going by myself, too. So this was like probably not the smartest thing. So don't be Andre. But I did take the flight out. And the crazy thing is they had even sent me a list of the top 10 type of people that it was recommending to not go. And number one on the list was U.S. African-American male.
Oh, yeah.
The reason why is because you stand out like a sore thumb. Right. And they can obviously tell that you're not Russian. So I was number one on the list. I'm like, oh, shit, they're going to be coming for me. Right. There's a target on my back.
Yeah.
And then they also sent me a map, and it said the 2 areas to avoid: downtown St. Petersburg and downtown Moscow. Literally had it zoned out. My fucking hotel is right in the middle of the map.
No.
Dead serious. Right in St. Petersburg. Right in the epicenter of the area they highlighted.
But no one was messing with, did you get like?
No. So look, the promoter, his name was Dennis also, and he didn't really speak English. He was always messaging me through translator apps. Super, super nice guy. Can't thank him enough. He made it so comfortable for the athletes. It's honestly one of the best shows I've ever done. He had actually sent or prearranged a limo to pick up all the IFBB pro athletes from the airport. So they had people there standing there with signs for each of us.
Nice.
There was like other athletes, male and female, from like Norway and Finland and Italy and
Just all over.
all over. I think I was the only U.S. athlete. And they picked us up in the limo, transported us directly to the hotel. So you don't want to use any public transportation. Yeah, transportation if you can avoid it, right? And you definitely don't want to be caught like walking around on the streets. So it took us straight there. I got off of or out of the limo, took us straight into a press conference. It was actually really fun. They hyped up this beef between me and the other athlete, right, the Russian athlete. It was really cool, man. I ended up, I don't even know. The whole thing was a blur because I was so tired and so it happened so fast.
Yeah.
But I ended up taking a second place finish to my buddy, which I kind of knew it was going to happen. You're in Russia. It's probably his only chance to qualify for the Olympia. They're going to go with the hometown hero if it's even kind of close.
Yeah.
And it was kind of close.
Yeah.
He brought it that day. I would say we're probably dead even. So I actually didn't have any beef with him, qualifying. I still got Olympia points. He got the automatic qualification.
Yeah.
Still made good money on the show. Interesting thing about that, though, on the way back, so all the hype that they made, it's kind of like when they forecast there's going to be a blizzard and 3 feet of snow and you get like an inch.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened. I did have to take a taxi from my hotel back to the airport. So I was a little nervous about this, right?
Ooh.
And it's a long, like 50-minute taxi ride. So I was kind of nervous. And I didn't know if the guy would even speak English. The guy actually spoke some broken English.
Okay.
Could kind of communicate. And didn't have any problem. This guy was so nice. He's like giving me a tour on the way.
Yeah.
And it was really sad looking too. Everything was dark and depressing there.
Really?
And I was like, is it always like this? He's like, yeah, it's kind of always like this.
It's Russia.
Check this out, man. So I get to the airport, right? I'm like, cool, I made it out alive. I'm going to go catch my flight home. I get like 10 steps in the airport and I'm like, oh shit, where's my phone?
No.
Swear to God. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like my phone, I had jogging pants on, some sweats.
Shit.
My phone had fallen out of my pocket in the taxi.
Stop.
I can't call for help. I can't call home, back to the U.S.
Oh.
So I'm about to have a heart attack, right? And I just kind of laughed to myself like, you would do something like that, right? So, man, I walk back outside and I sit down. I'm like, all right, what do we do? And I'm sitting there for about 5 minutes just trying to think. And I'll be damned. The taxi driver saw my phone in the seat, drives around, loops around the airport, comes back and comes to find me. He said, sir, you forgot your phone. I thought you might need this.
Wow.
What?
And I'm like, holy shit, man. They hyped up how bad this was going to be. This was like the greatest experience ever. So it gave me perspective, if nothing else, man.
Yeah, that's crazy because in America, I feel like
they would have took my stuff.
It's gone.
Yeah. I would have been been stranded for sure. So cool experience, man. Yeah, I think getting out and being able to do that, especially when it's for something that you love, like one of our sports.
Yeah.
Man, take advantage of that. Whenever you can, get out there, build some relationships, network, get the experience.
That's crazy because I
100%.
think it's like really hard to go to Russia now. Like
It is.
Like
it is.
damn near impossible, and you probably don't want to do it.
You probably wouldn't want to go right now.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
War,
Like you wouldn't want to do it. The other people I've seen do it is like Nelk.
Right. Roy Jones Jr., he's dual citizenship.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Because he started the boxing stuff out there. But he started it before all this happened.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah. That's crazy. So 36 hours in Russia.
That was it. In and out, man. Everything was strange there, too. Like, I remember having to try and communicate through the app, like the translator app.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because, you kind of figure, like, all right, somebody in the hotel will speak English. That was a bad assumption.
Yeah.
Not
Nobody.
a soul spoke English. No, it was bad. In the
Damn.
airport, I was expecting, like, maybe some multi-language things, even Spanish. Give me a little Spanish. I'm half Mexican, right?
Yeah.
Nothing. It was all Russian, and they don't even use our alphabet. So it was kind of intimidating.
Oh yeah, they
Going
don't
by
use our
myself.
alphabet at
No,
all.
so you can, like with Spanish or anything else, Latin,
You
you
couldn't
can
even
kind of
guess.
stumble through some of it, and pick up a word here and there. I can even recognize my own name in
Yeah.
Russian. So
That shit just looked like hieroglyphics.
it looked like hieroglyphics,
Literally.
or like Chinese to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was a humbling experience, but at the same time, I would do it all over again, but I would do it a lot smarter. Yeah.
Do it differently. Maybe
do it a little differently.
maybe
yeah.
book your own hotel, not in the
Exactly.
heart of where you shouldn't be too.
Yeah, not lose my phone. Bring a charger that actually works with their voltage for my
Yeah.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's
so.
crazy. Where else has it taken you? Anywhere else outside the country besides Russia?
Germany was
I
interesting.
think you said a couple of them, right?
Yeah. So Germany was another tough show. I don't think it was as well put together, so it wasn't as fluid of an experience, believe it or not. The interesting thing too is when we travel for something like a bodybuilding competition.
Yeah.
To some people, that sounds like vacation, right? Sounds like fun, leisure. For me, it's 110% business. You are so laser focused. I want to get to my hotel. I want to get in my room. I want to lay all my meals out for the day. I want to lay all this stuff out. I want to get my training. I want to get my posing. And I want to talk to my coach.
Man.
You ain't even thinking about what's outside.
Yeah.
Right. Because people, when they're traveling, they want to experience food, culture, nightlife. Now, maybe if you have the time or the luxury to stay an extra couple of days, you're going to do that. But otherwise, man, I've done, all these shows all over the world. Very, very rare do you usually get to stay and enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, you can't go out and just eat everything that they have because you're keeping your physique. Yeah, you got to keep your physique correct. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I actually kind of felt the same way with, like, even some of our trips. Like, in the beginning, I had never even seen the ocean, and we had been to L.A., like, 10 times.
Yeah.
And I just never had seen it because I'm like, I don't know, we're fucking working. Like, we don't have time to do any of that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're there, but you're not enjoying that stuff. Right?
Yeah.
You're there for business. And
We'll enjoy that stuff later.
Yeah, working hard now so you can enjoy that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So I got a question about, like, judging a bodybuilding contest because I don't know how that shit works. I know, like, when I was in gymnastics as a kid, they would judge you based on, how your feet are together, your toes are pointed, everything's, like, sharp. How does, like, when you say you went head to head with this guy in Russia and you guys, came out really close.
Yep.
What does that mean exactly? Because I don't know what they look for. Like, I know you guys are posing and doing your poses and shit.
Yeah.
How does that work?
So it's actually fascinating. It's a little complex because there's many divisions. So for the men, we've got, like, men's physique. That's the board shorts. Still got to be jacked. And then you've got classic physique. That's more of, like, looking at the proportions of that golden age of bodybuilding, like the Arnold Schwarzenegger era. That's my current division. I started in men's physique. And then you've got 212 and open bodybuilding, which is if you are genetically gifted enough to get that big and full and round, then as you're growing and evolving, a lot of times that's a better fit for the really big guys. But what they're looking for is different criteria based on division. And you've got kind of 4 or 5 basic ones like, symmetry, proportions, overall conditioning, muscularity, and then stage poise, right? So stage poise would be like your ability to pose. So you're not scored directly on your posing, but if, let's say you're a smaller guy and you're competing against a guy that's a little bit bigger than you, if you're able to pose big and it's an illusion, right? Sport of illusions.
Yeah.
If I can make myself look bigger and he's a terrible poser, I might beat him because the judges can only judge what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Right. So you get the subjectivity, kind of like with gymnastics or ice skating or something like that, versus powerlifting, right? Where it's you lifted the weight or you didn't lift the weight.
Yep.
It's objective. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Definitely when you're judging a physique, you're going to get subjectivity.
Yeah.
Right. Some people might over reward or weight more heavily the conditioning, which means that they're shredded, super shredded, right? I want to see every athlete super shredded. The other guy might overweight muscularity. And, hey, I don't care if he's a little bit softer than the other guy, but, damn, he's like 10 pounds bigger than him, so I'm going to over-reward that.
Yeah.
And that's why you have a panel of judges that together, collectively, their scores add up, and that's how the placings end up working.
Yeah, because it could just be straight-up opinion.
Yeah, so they're comparing you guys in the prejudging through different poses, different posing rounds, and whoever's winning those poses. And once they roll those scores up, whoever has kind of like golf, the lowest score, right, the lowest amount of errors or flaws and the highest placing, that's who's going to win.
So in a sense, it's kind of like boxing in the way that they need more than one judge because everyone sees something different.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yep. Everyone's going to see it a little bit different.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And you kind of got to take the reigning Olympia champ as the model physique for that division, right?
Yeah.
They've clearly communicated this is the physique that they feel is the best. So as a coach, you kind of do a needs analysis. If TJ came up today and said, hey, Dre, coach me for a bodybuilding show, I would do a needs analysis depending what division you're in and say, all right, here's the Olympia champ that we want to kind of model your physique after, and here's the areas that we need to emphasize throughout your training.
That's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild.
Yeah.
So
It's
what about like steroids though? Are people allowed? Is it like legal to do steroids and go to a show?
Yeah,
Like,
so
or
that's
how
a good
does that
question.
work?
You know, historically, it's like that. It's like that Pandora's box that no one is comfortable about talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that wall has kind of broken down over the last, not even 10 years, probably the last 3 to 5 years. Where in the 90s, right, you had the Balco thing, you had baseball, you got Barry Bonds and, you know, Mark McGwire, and why is his head so big, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whereas today, it's like a lot more talked about because of education and knowledge. So when you think about things like TRT protocols, right, people now realize that hormones are an extremely important part in everyone's bodies, whether you're a bodybuilder or you're a 60-year-old mom who just wants to feel good, look good, perform better. Things like our estrogens, our progesterones, our testosterones are tools that our body needs to optimize to feel good and look good, right? So I think it's more widely acceptable to talk about today. In terms of bodybuilding, if you're doing a show or a league that's listed as a natural event, then that means it is tested and you will get popped just like any other sport. If it is not listed as natural, it's kind of anything goes. It's right. Yeah. It's one of those untalked about things. You know, what gives it a bad stigma are people that make very poor decisions, with their coaching or with what they're putting in their bodies because they want so bad to achieve the outcome that they're willing to put their health at risk, right? I call it substance abuse. There's a big difference between like going to the doctor or going to Titan Medical Center and getting like a TRT protocol versus hardcore substance abuse where you're overdoing things not under medical supervision at high dosages or for too long.
What is a TRT protocol?
So that would be like your testosterone replacement therapy. Some people call it HRT, hormone replacement therapies, right?
Okay.
So as men age, as women age, our hormones change. For men, we start to lose a percentage of testosterone every year, right? What happens when you get up into your mid to late 30s, 40s, 50s, you struggle to maintain a healthy body composition, right? It's even if you're genetically gifted, it becomes harder to hold on to your lean skeletal muscle mass. It becomes harder to drop unwanted body fat. For women, if they're estrogen dominant, it's going to force their bodies to hold extracellular water and fat retention in the legs, hips, thighs, right? Areas that they commonly struggle with when you see cellulite and stuff like this. So that's why, and beyond just the aesthetic look too, you've got the performance, right? So things like libido, things like energy, mood, concentration, all that stuff's related to your hormones. So we kind of start there, just like we do a needs analysis physically. We do blood work and kind of look at key health indicators and performance gaps. If your hormones are crashed out or there's something going on, right, genetically you're predisposed to something, that's where you would work with, you know, like a hormone specialist to figure that out. Yeah.
So, but I know because my older brothers was huge into bodybuilding growing up, and I know he worked out with a lot of people, and you know, just being around like huge bodybuilders, like I learned like if you're taking it's pretty like if you're taking a steroid or whatever you're taking to get big, like that can offset your other levels, right, of other things. So then you have to balance everything out. Yeah, so you have to understand that.
Yeah, so you have to understand your hormones. I think two things, right? One is the misconception about what steroids does in the body. And then I think just looking at that piece first, people think that I'm going to take steroids and keep doing what I'm doing and I'm just going to get jacked. I'm going to look at Ronnie. You're going to get zero benefit from that. Okay, so steroids, if you take like an AAS steroid like testosterone or a masteron or something like that, right? These are medical therapies that were developed and prescribed for very specific issues in the body, right? They've obviously been misused or used differently for the purpose of something like bodybuilding. You know, if we think about any of that stuff, you're increasing muscle nitrogen, you're increasing protein synthesis. What that allows you to do, if you were only able to train, let's say 3-4 days a week, hard because you're very sore and you need more time to recover, you know, you're not able to eat and metabolize as much food as you probably could. That's where it's going to give you a benefit. It's going to allow you to work harder, right? And start to accelerate your results and build muscle faster, right? So they're agonists to building muscle. But I think that's one definite big misconception is people think that I'm going to take testosterone and all of a sudden I'm going to get jacked.
Jacked up, yeah.
You know how hard, if that's the case, every bodybuilder on this planet would be an Olympian, right? Because they're all trying with every ounce of energy they got.
Yeah.
The other thing about balancing the hormones, Yes, if you don't know what you're doing and you're not doing this under medical supervision, you're self-prescribed, don't recommend that. You're going to throw your body out of whack, no doubt, right? I don't recommend playing with your hormones without being under medical supervision. If you take too much testosterone, right, it's going to take two pathways. One is DHT, which is when you see people get like acne and their hair starts to fall out, they get all the other side effects that they don't want, right? Or you're going to get other issues like gynecomastia, stuff like that, because your estrogens are getting too high. For men, it's E2 or estradiol.
Yeah.
So these are things where you need to understand what you're doing in the body and understand these processes and pathways. I don't recommend self-prescribing for that, right? A, it's dangerous to your health, and B, it's probably illegal. So you should probably work through, your medical doctor. Here's the other interesting, fascinating thing to me is, one thing I love about like Titan Medical Center, one of my sponsors, big shout out to Jass Charisse, is if you look at the male body, they're going to say natural testosterone levels should be somewhere between, let's say 200 and 930. Okay. Somewhere in this range. It's a pretty big range, right?
Yeah, it is a big range.
So think about right now, you're 23, you go get tested. Let's say you're at 900. You're like, dude, I'm an animal. I feel great. You're 30, you're at 500. You're 40, you're at 201. They will not prescribe you TRT because you're still in a normal range. Do you think you're going to feel good at 201 when you used to be 900?
You're probably not going to feel the same as what you were feeling.
Crap, right? You're going to be lethargic. You're not going to have energy, all that stuff. So that's one reason why we would have somebody go do blood work with like Titan Medical Center. They're able to say, all right, look, yes, you're kind of in this range, but it's so low that you could optimize this and get you back up to that kind of 800, 900 level. Yeah. With our HRT medical treatments and make you feel like you did 10 years ago, right?
Wow.
Yep. So that's so some of the misconceptions and things that people should just be aware of. Same thing for women, though.
Yeah.
Women also produce testosterone and obviously much lower amounts, right? Mm-hmm. And then they have things like the menstrual cycle. They have premenopause, they have pregnancy, they have postmenopause. A lot more complex than what we have to deal with.
Yeah, for sure.
So you definitely want to have.
Shout out to the women.
Shout out to the women, man.
They go through it.
They go through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think this month was the Women's History Month. So
yep. Yeah,
and I coach like 95% women, as you guys have seen.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes into it. So you got to understand the female body for sure.
Yeah, for sure. You're very knowledgeable when it comes to this shit. Like, I can't believe like all the knowledge you just gave us. Like someone listening could learn a lot from all the shit you just told us.
Oh, for sure. I love it. I live it, breathe it every day, every single day. Yep.
Well, shit, man. I think it's about that time we're gonna wrap up. We've been going for a while, man.
Mm-hmm. To be continued.
To be continued. Part 2 coming soon. Andre, thank you for pulling up to the crib, bro. I learned a lot this session, so This is crazy. It's your boy T Jass with the Everyone's Different podcast.
Young Trench.
Young
Peace
Trench,
out, guys.
the co-host. Andre, thanks for pulling up, man.
All right, guys. Pleasure to have me on the episode. I want that rematch soon, too, TJ.
Yeah, we're going to get on the
first one. We're going to do it at first one.
We're going to get on the court, but make sure you guys check out Andre. All of his social medias will be in the description. Click the link. Go check out Snap Fitness Kenosha. A lot of big things coming soon. Peace, guys.
Later.